Hello everyone, my name is Stefan. Welcome to my channel SPD Nordic Vision. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to all my audiences. My last video went quite well. Thank you so much for all your support. It seems that you guys like me to do a little bit like interview and invite some special guests. Guess what? This is what I'm doing for this episode as well. So I'm very excited to tell you that in this video, I'm very happy that I invited my first ever Icelandic guest to my interview. And we will be mainly talking about our overseas study experiences and as well as the difference between Netherlands and Iceland. And also, in the end, we'll be giving some of our suggestions and tips in terms of overseas studies. And if you are a student who is facing the choices of going to overseas to study or exchange, then I hope that this video will be truly helpful to you. And if you like my channel, and please do not forget to subscribe and share my videos with your friends, whoever you think that they might need. Okay, without further ado, let's getting started. Hello everyone, my name is Stefan and welcome to my channel SPD Nordic Vision. So today I'm very glad that I invited a special guest to my channel who is also Icelander and also my flatmate. So welcome Andri.
Hi,
Yeah.
I'm Andri. I'm studying school psychology here in the University of Akureyri, and I come from the north of Iceland, from Svalbardströnd, which is close to the town of Akureyri. Yeah.
So your town is close to Akureyri.
Like my municipality. I don't really come from a town, just like a
Municipality.
yeah, sort of like a house in the countryside next to Akureyri.
Okay.
And yeah, so in the municipality there's this like small fishing village called Svalbardseyri,
Yeah.
and that's where I went to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have never been to Akureyri.
Mhm.
I hope to visit there one day.
Yeah.
Do you go there sometimes?
Yeah, I go there a lot. Like I only lived like a 4-minute drive from Akureyri. I actually like live closer to Akureyri than Svalbardseyri. This is where I went to school.
Ah, okay.
So mostly like every week, like several times, I would like drive, or my mom would like drive me to Akureyri, or my dad to like do shopping or do like sports rehearsals or or music rehearsals. And also my parents worked in Akureyri for a really long time, and when I was done with grunnskóli after 10th grade, I went to a menntaskóli in Akureyri, and I worked a lot of jobs in Akureyri.
Yeah.
And I went to university in Akureyri, so I'm really like close. Yeah. I consider myself like a partly an Akureyringur,
Okay.
which is a person from Akureyri. But
I see.
but first and foremost, I'm Svalbardströndungur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely need to find a chance to go to northern Iceland to visit all those beautiful places. Yeah. So tell us, Andri, have you been to other places, other countries before?
Yeah, actually recently I spent a year in the Netherlands at the University of Leiden studying clinical psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you came with the idea of going to study in Netherlands?
Well, I've always wanted to be a psychologist, and getting into the University of Iceland or the University of Reykjavik for like a master's study in psychology
Yeah.
is really hard because it's really competitive and there are only few places available.
Yeah.
So the first year after I graduated with my bachelor's from University of Akureyri,
Yeah.
I actually didn't get into either school,
Yeah.
so I looked elsewhere.
Okay. So then you found this school in Netherlands.
Yeah, it's like a school within the European Union, which makes it much more like financially viable.
Yeah.
And it teaches in English, which I really need because I don't really speak any other languages than Icelandic and English.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the Netherlands before you go there and after you went there? Is there any difference?
Yeah, I mean, before I went there, I didn't really know much about the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I sort of knew the stereotypes of like this place being like pretty progressive and they're like being beautiful cities like Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And you always hear about that one fact that like 70% or whatever of the Netherlands is below sea level.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to think, but yeah, like after having lived there, I really like the Netherlands. Yeah, it's like a really, yeah, the people there are really nice and courteous and really fantastic. And like unlike like a lot of places, like even more so than Iceland, I feel like the Dutch people really have their shit together. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I just felt really comfortable there. And the cities are just like really beautiful, like Leiden especially, where I went to university and I lived for most of my time there.
Yeah.
It's like a really old city, like in the spirit of like the center of Amsterdam, where there's like, it's like this really old town with like narrow houses along a canal. Like the entire town looks like a postcard.
Wow, that looks beautiful.
Yeah, just like the entire like center of the town. Like, yeah, I kind of miss it.
How do you say the difference between Iceland, the place where you come from, and Netherlands, the place where you have studied a while?
Yeah, I mean the most striking difference I think between like northern Iceland where I lived and like South Holland, which is the place in the Netherlands where I lived, was like just a huge difference in like geology. It's like, I don't know, where I lived in like northern Iceland, like there are mountains everywhere, like big mountains, and what do you say, the people are like really like spread out, or like, I don't know, like people are concentrated in all these small like settlements in amongst like huge like areas of just nature. So you feel like, yeah, so you feel like you're like, whatever town you're in or whatever village, it's just like a small like concentration of human in amongst like these like huge natural forces. But in the Netherlands it's like the complete opposite. It's almost completely flat from what I could tell.
Yeah.
And there are like no mountains, not even like hills that I could see all that much. And like every single square meter almost was like just like somehow like manipulated by humans.
Wow.
It was like really hard to, or impossible almost, to like find places that are like untouched by humans. It's like, yeah, the towns obviously like, or the cities obviously, like most cities are like that. Every little bit is like manipulated by humans. like the most natural places are like parks that are still like really meticulously like terraformed and everything. And like in between cities is just like fields, as far as the eye can see, fields and ditches. So
Yeah.
I kind of missed
That feeling.
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like the people and like the society, I didn't really notice much of a difference between like Icelanders and the Dutch. I think they're kind of similar cultures for the most part.
So you don't actually have sort of culture shock there, you don't?
Not really. No, I felt kind of at home.
Right.
Yeah.
I have always wanted to ask people, especially as an Icelander, when they study in abroad, like in your case, you as Icelander, you study in Netherlands. How do you feel about it? Being an Icelander and study in Netherlands.
Yeah, I think, I don't think I felt necessarily all that different from like other international students. So like I met a lot of international students from all over the place, and I don't think I necessarily stood out from that group just because I was Icelandic, but I don't know, I could tell that people were maybe a little bit more curious on average about Iceland than they were about like other places.
Yeah.
But not by much, really.
Because I guess the chances of meeting an Icelandic student in abroad is actually quite low, because there are only 360,000 I don't know if all of them are Icelanders who live in Iceland, but
I think it's like people with Icelandic citizenship.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so the chances of meeting an Icelander in general in abroad is like very, very low in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I guess people would be very, very like curious about you.
Yeah, true. But I was also like in amongst like people from all over that are like that you're just as unlikely to meet. Like maybe like countries with a higher population, but also like but those countries are still like further away from the Netherlands, and like people maybe don't like travel like to Europe as much from those countries. Like I met like a student from like Costa Rica, another one from Chile, one from like Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these like really far away places. So I think like people are also like fascinated by those people because like I think Dutch people like know less about those cultures than they know about Icelandic culture.
Yeah.
Because I think Dutch people realize that like Icelanders really have a similar culture to people like Denmark or countries like Denmark that are really close to the Netherlands.
Yes.
So I don't think Icelanders are that foreign to Dutch people.
No. Yeah, they can find some cultural similarities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Especially if they like know some Danish people. Yeah.
Yes. Have you met some students from other Nordic countries? Because I know I heard something that when Nordic people in abroad, they tend to be like together in a small group. So I don't know if that is true.
Yeah, I actually didn't meet anyone from like Nordic countries specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were quite a few like students from Germany that I met, and I had a roommate or a flatmate from Ireland. So that's, I don't know, the closest thing to a Nordic person I knew. So
right.
Yeah.
I remember because I have actually been to Amsterdam in 2016. I remember it was December. I went there with my sister for a short trip. We went there just only for like 3 to 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were walking on the main street in downtown,
Mm-hmm.
the most common language that we heard actually is German instead of English. So I guess there's a lot of German tourists in Netherlands. So actually I agree, I have a sort of similar experience like you did, as you mentioned that you met a lot of German students.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Definitely.
Yeah.
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 A lot of German students, a lot of Italian students also, and like a disproportionately high amount of Greek students also.
Yeah.
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 I heard it's like somehow like really beneficial for like Greek psychology students to like study psychology in the Netherlands for some reason. That might explain.
No wonder why I did met some, like quite a few Greek friends when I was living in Athens, that they or either way live in Netherlands or for working or for study. So maybe that's the reason, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, because I actually feel quite kind of like a little bit different feeling, because as a foreigner.
Because you're kind of in like a similar situation that I was in, like in a sense that you're like now studying abroad.
Yeah,
essentially.
true.
Yeah.
But because I study Icelandic, I study language, and I am staying here for long. So for me, in my opinion, I wanted to create more kind of connection with the community here in Iceland. So that's why studying the language and learning the culture is kind of a very important thing for me.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the different thing compared with you, that because you were only going to Netherlands for sort of a short exchange, right?
Yeah, like I finished like a 1-year degree from like beginning to end. But
yeah. So
but it was only 1 year.
yeah. So so probably in your case, you don't actually need to learn Dutch language or culture, since you're only for a kind of exchange program.
Yeah, kind of. Like I tried to like study Dutch or start learning Dutch before I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about learning Dutch?
I mean, it's really interesting. It's like this. I feel like Dutch is sort of this middle ground between like English, German, and Icelandic.
Oh.
Like I found like a lot of surprising like similarities between Icelandic and Dutch.
Okay.
So
it's sort of like a bit mixture of everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you tell?
Hmm.
Like that's my feeling that I got at least.
Yeah.
But like as soon as I started to live in the Netherlands, that I like tried to like speak Dutch to Dutch people, they immediately switched to English.
Yeah. Dutch people speak very good English.
Yeah, exactly. And they want to like show off that they speak good English. I'm guessing you have like a similar experience in Iceland, because like Icelandic people like really like showing off their English skills.
Okay, my experience, because of course when people talk to me, they know that I'm from another country, just from the first appearance.
Yeah.
So they always try to talk with me in English. So that's the first reaction to Icelanders. And then I always kind of answer them back in Icelandic, and then they're kind of like very surprised, they were not expecting me speaking Icelandic. So then they were starting to speak Icelandic, and then they start to speak very fast. And it doesn't matter if I tell them that like ég tala bara smá íslensku. So they don't hear small. They don't hear this small. Small means small in Icelandic. So they just thought that you speak Icelandic. So that all matters. So then they start to speak very fast, and then I couldn't catch, and then in the end I had to switch to English to them. So that's my experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had the like exact opposite experience like later on when I gave up on learning Dutch. It was like people, like I look Dutch basically, so people when they see me like assume that I'm Dutch when I'm walking around in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So when they talk to me, they always like start talking in Dutch, and I have to like stop them. Like I don't understand. I don't speak Dutch.
Yeah.
And they often got like really surprised. Like, really, you don't speak a word of Dutch. You look.
Yeah.
Like I was sure that you were a Dutch person.
Yeah. But isn't that true that, because I also been to Netherlands, like I feel everyone in Netherlands is quite tall. Like I feel like a little bit pressured when I was walking on the street in Netherlands. I feel like I'm quite short.
Yeah, like I don't know, I'm pretty tall, like even for an Icelander.
Yeah.
But like living in the Netherlands, that's the first time I really felt like I was like average height.
Yeah.
And I could like consistently like see people that are like significantly taller than me.
Yeah.
And also like it's the first time I really like encountered like, I don't know, like situations where like many of the like women were like as tall as me.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in general, I guess your experience in Netherlands is good, and you definitely enjoying it, and you feel like you are having experience there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I kind of like I don't know, regret not like going out of my way to absorb like Dutch culture more than I did, because I was really like focused on my studies. And also like most of the people I hung around with were like international students like me, or my roommates, which were all like from all over.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually know a lot of Dutch people. The one exception was this 2-month period where before I moved to Leiden, because the housing I got in Leiden didn't become available until the start of November.
Oh.
So for 2 months in September and October I lived in Delft.
Okay.
And that was a really nice arrangement, because I lived in like an attic. And the landlord was a really nice Dutch lady called Hanneke, and so she lived there with her son, and I was lucky enough that she basically like fed me dinner like every night for free basically.
Wow.
Which was incredibly nice. And
especially when it comes to the fact that we all know what Go Dutch means. So having the free meal is quite incredible.
Yeah, true. And so that was actually like pretty much my only like exposure to Dutch food. Because you don't find a lot of like Dutch restaurants that like offer a lot of Dutch food.
So in conclusion, would you like to give some suggestion to people, like if they should go for exchange in their young age through the school program to have different experience?
I definitely like recommend studying abroad if you have the chance. And specifically in the Netherlands they have a lot of programs. I think like the vast majority of postgraduate programs, like master's degrees, are available in English. So that's a really like good place to look if you want to study like in an English-speaking program.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. So definitely recommend the Netherlands. It can be a little bit expensive. But I didn't really feel that, because Iceland is also really expensive.
Exactly.
It's like, like when I was like going out with my like other international students, they were like always like really like shocked how expensive like alcohol was and how expensive food was. But I was like just like really over the moon because everything was so cheap compared to Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they got like even more shocked, like how expensive Iceland.
Yeah, I guess that is the advantage that's coming from Iceland, going to study another place, that you don't necessarily feel the majority of the places are more expensive.
Yeah.
So that's something
but
that
especially with like rent in Iceland, especially like in Reykjavik being so expensive, like often like living abroad is like much cheaper than living in Iceland.
Yeah.
So yeah, you kind of have this idea that like going to study abroad must be like really expensive because you have to buy the plane ticket, and which is like so expensive, and there's the tuition which is like I don't know, expensive.
Yeah.
But like in reality the tuition in the Netherlands is like, at least for like people in the EU or the EES, it's like pretty cheap, and like the living expenses are like much cheaper in Iceland. So if I were to like go to like a country that was even cheaper, then I would like actually like save a significant amount of money just by living there.
And also I think by living in not only Netherlands but other country for a short-term like exchange program, it gives you a chance to kind of like facing the difficulties by yourself and deal with the difficulties and grow.
Yeah.
Because when you are living in the environment that you are familiar with, like in terms of culture and language, then sometimes you feel more relaxed, that you're more like kind of in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit difficult to push your energy to go for more things in your life. But if you're living in the country like that, you don't know the culture, you don't know the language, you're like discovering everything like from the scratch. And then it really helps you to kind of build up your ability and your strengths of overcoming the difficulties along the way.
Yeah, true. That really like, I think I really like surprised myself like how well I was being, how well I was able to like handle like all these new things, like living to another country and like looking for apartments in a foreign country and like taking care of stuff. It kind of went much better than I would have thought.
Yeah.
But like then again, like I feel like the jump in like culture from like Iceland to the Netherlands isn't that big of a shock. So
yeah,
I think compared to like your situation where you're like moving from East Asia to Northern Europe, is like a much bigger culture shock probably.
Yeah, yes, that's definitely true. But because I have lived in like so many different countries, so I get used to adapting to the new culture like very soon and quickly. And of course now, in my current situation, if I plan to move somewhere again, I would be thinking very carefully and to make sure that this is what I'm going to do. Because when I was younger, then I kind of have a bit more sort of opportunity, and you don't worry about time. Time is not an issue. But when you are getting like older, sort of like you want to build up your life, when you're turning into certain age, then you're kind of like, looking at the options, like not so many options compared with when you are a bit younger.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the reason why I definitely agree with you that when you said that to encourage people to definitely give a sort of short-term experience of studying in abroad, such as Netherlands.
Yeah, it definitely can like I think like a lot of people, like if they took the leap, then they might realize that it's not as big of a leap as they maybe feared, and I think like if you take the leap, you will really surprise yourself with how much you're capable of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, well, this is the experience that we shared with you guys, and if you have decided to go to another country for like exchange study, or you are already in and you're more than welcome to leave your stories in the comments below. And once again, thank you very much, Andri, for joining my interview today.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. Bye. Okay, so this is my conversation with my Icelandic friend Andri, and I truly hope that our video will be helpful to you, especially you are thinking of going to study abroad or doing some short-term exchange program. I know that this is a big decision in your life, but hope that through our experience, our stories, you would be able to catch some main points, and it helps you to clear up your mind to see what is the most important thing for you to look at in terms of this. If you do have your own stories regarding overseas studies, then I'm more than happy to know your stories and your suggestions. Please leave your stories down below so I can also see how you have been through all this. Okay, so in the end, I just want to mention that I also have the other social platforms that you can follow me. You can know my stories here in Iceland. So you are more than welcome to follow me on all the other platforms. Okay, so this is enough for today, and see you next time. Bye.